I'm going to look at some things as what is the purpose of the weight room? If you're truly looking to develop your athletes, and we know that there's issues with sprinters in lifting, and any athlete in lifting, what are our goals of being in the weight room? And this is kind of from a true science standpoint. The first one is you get hormonal adaptations, whether it's growth hormone or testosterone. You are going to get changes from lifting a heavy weight. That is scientifically proven up and down there's no way around it, especially with high school athletes. And what is the best way to get stronger and faster and all these different things? Well, growth hormone and testosterone. Whether it's the growth hormone to increase the amount of work you can do, or the testosterone to actually make the tissue change, that is a thing that you are looking to do. And when you get those hormonal changes, you are going to get a change for tissue adaptation, which is going to either allow for faster recovery or allow for faster growth. And if you go down to the bottom here again, not again, but if you go down to the bottom, that testosterone and growth hormone change is going to have an impact on tendon and ligament resilience and possibly strength. So when you are in the weight room, that is a positive that you can look to do. And you're not going to get some of these great hormonal changes by doing bodybuilding reps. It's going to be kind of a heavy, in fact, overload principle that is going to spike those changes. And if you look at triphasic training, that's really what they're looking to do when Cal starts doing really heavy isometrics and really heavy eccentrics. This is the goal of doing those exercises, is you are looking for these hormonal changes for a tissue change. In going down on the bottom there, it is a tissue quality improvement. You're going to get better, whether it's a change from fast twitch or slow twitch to fast twitch by lifting heavier things, or the way the muscle slides on top of each other, or even recruitment patterns by pushing on those heavy weights, that you are going to get a better recruitment up and down the line. So it's more of a neural change. Another thing that I see you can do in the weight room is you can create some technique foundations from different body positions. So whether you're looking for a hip hike or loading your feet and ankle and different things like that, we can use the variations in the weight room and hit those techniques that are important to us for whatever sport we're playing, and get strong in those positions. Because when you are strong in a different position, that will be your fallback place. That kind of gets into the Bosch thing of finishing, but it also works in the same way that, let's say you do a ton of bicep curls and you've got your wrists curled like this, and you can do 135 for reps. When you go to grab something else, and it's not in a weightlifting text in the weight room, and you go to snag that thing, you're going to go right back to that strong position. Your body always wants to go to where it's strong. So why not use the weight room to find those strong positions that you want to be in for whatever your sport is? You can also use it for expanding work capacity in a different way. And I'm going to talk about how you can get an aerobic development out of this in a minute here. But prime versus pinnacle, you can develop, expand your capacity to do more work. And why do we want to do that? It's really about the recovery. How fast can I come back and train again? Do I
Hey,
need to
Chris,
wait?
could you explain prime versus pinnacle for me?
Prime versus pinnacle is just a way of, pinnacle is a fly 10. This is my best fly 10. A
Okay,
prime is going to be, I'm going to change how many I do and maybe not go quite as fast.
gotcha.
That's the difference between prime and pinnacle. And we can expand our work capacity in the weight room. So you don't have to go out and do, not that I ever do these, but 8 200s at 2 minutes rest, that kind of stuff. And we do want to improve our work capacity so we can do more pinnacle runs when we go. And you give yourself a better opportunity to run a faster fly 10 if I can run a couple more. And my body's going to find ways to stay fast when slightly fatigued. Talked about tissue quality, whether it's resilience, muscle fiber conversion, tendon resilience, or greater muscle recruitment. So when I'm in the weight room, and I do go in the weight room, once track season starts, I don't. that's even indoor. I use the off season to do exercises, and I'm going to get to this one with programming, but eventually when I get to compete, I shouldn't be in the weight room. I want to, especially if you're just sprinting, that's enough. Do I care that I lose my max strength by 5 or 10% at the beginning or at the end of the season because I haven't been in the weight room? I don't. I only want to, the only thing I care about are my times at that point, my fly times and whatever else I'm measuring. So I can use this to build these things to all kind of lead into my season. Because in an ideal world, once you're in season, I'm not in the weight room. My sport is my exercise.
Yeah, what I always say is I don't want a secondary recovery issue during the season.
Absolutely.
Like if you have a Saturday track meet, your kids aren't totally normal on Monday even. And if they go in and have a squat workout on Monday, they're not totally normal till Wednesday. And heck, you might have another meet on Tuesday. So if you're recovering from two different things in season, it's not going to end well.
I agree. And you really don't know what's going on when you put them in the squat rack. I can manage sprinting. I get that. But if I have someone with bad squat technique, I don't know how much cortisol is getting released in the body that's going to make that recovery even longer.
Yep.
You know, I think a fairly stressful event is not having great technique in the weight room and putting a bar with a lot of weight on your back and everything isn't lined up. That's a scary situation from a neural standpoint, and you're going to release cortisol rather than testosterone to deal with that.
Do you believe in a no pain, no gain weight room, even in the off season?
Yeah, I don't ever want to beat the body down. I don't want to grind out joints and things like that.
Even though that's kind of the poster in the weight room, right? No pain, no gain.
I had the T-shirt when I was in high school. I thought I was pretty cool.
Yeah.
Chris, if you were controlling the weights as well as sport practice, would your view differ? And if you were in that position, how would you go about training athletes maybe during in season? I know you're getting to some of that coming up, but that was a question in the chat.
So the purpose of a weight room coach is to get those athletes to perform at their best for their season. And if I have to give up doing some stuff in the weight room in order to make that happen, based on data, like, hey, when we didn't squat for these 3 weeks, we ran faster, I'm going to get rid of that exercise. You know, I think my major issue is that we say weight room and lifting weights, and then we're on the track sprinting. Let's get rid of all of the categories. Let's just call it exercise. What exercise am I going to do to get to my goal? Which is I'm going to talk about this in a minute. That's going to be the foundations for designing off season and in season, all that training. But if I can get better just by running, and I know I can recover from that, and my goal is running, then maybe that's where I want to be. If I'm a linebacker, however, and I know that I need to armor up, or my squats, you know, if I have a good squat number and I'm playing better, well, then maybe I want to keep that exercise in. So I don't get into, is it the weight room? Is it on the track? You know, for me, a perfect world is you're out where you're running. Again, if I'm coaching track and there's equipment out by the weight room, and that's what I did. When I coached at Hinsdale Central and I had a lot of freedom in what I could do there, we dragged the glute ham machine outside, and the glute ham machine was right on the track. I mean, we brought everything out. And if that's what we needed to, if that's what that one kid needed to do to get faster and it was working, well, then that was part of our workout. I didn't get caught up as, is it weight room? How much am I lifting? Is it an exercise that is making me better? That's all I'm concerned about. And running is an exercise, sprinting is an exercise, squatting is an exercise. They're all exercises.
I think that's one of the problems that weight room people have, though, is that many of them are operating in the blind. They are not timing, so they don't know if they're getting faster or slower. They're just saying trust the process, and and they really have no idea. They say, oh, well, we tested on the first day and we'll test 3 months later. But that's not really cutting it, is it?
No. Well, you and I both like to test frequently, and we know what we need, so we can make those changes a little bit better. But I think you're right that a strength coach, and I was a strength coach. If you've read my history stuff, I've done my time in the weight room. You have a program that you can show the head coach that I've accounted for 8 weeks of work, and I'm going to let this whole process feed through. Because when you get into management and things like that, management becomes difficult in the weight room. And I can't, or I don't have the time or knowledge to design programs for every individual person. And I think that's where they get caught, that we have a program for everyone and everyone will get stronger. And when I have to show the head coach what we've done, I said, look, I've done my job. We went up in this, and this, and this, and this. Our averages were better. This kid got better, blah, blah, blah.
And they all gained 15 pounds.
And they all gained 15 pounds. Which, you know, football coaches, you know, to them, a lot of times it's about what does that roster look like? Do I look scary on the roster? So before we even play, what's the first thing you get the roster from the other team, and you look through and look and see how many linemen are over 265. Oh shit, they got 5 guys. Looks like an NFL line. They're all at 270. But what does that 270 look like? It's not,
right.
A lot of times it's not a healthy 270.
Well, and we were talking earlier this morning. I get this question a lot. Like people say, yeah, I get it. You know, like, you know, if my great fullback gains 20 pounds, he might be slower. But how about that 150-pound linebacker? He has to gain 20 pounds, doesn't he? And I was kind of surprised with your answer.
If it's a good 20 pounds that you don't lose your ability to play at the speed that you need to play at, that would be fine. When I coached football at Hinsdale Central for 12 years and we had some good teams, 2 of our best linebackers didn't weigh more than 165 pounds. Now we designed a defense that they're covered. You know, they played behind a 3. So they were protected, but still that's where they played at. And I think what's funny is throughout a season, you'll see body weights drop. And a lot of times as your body is getting to the weight where it can do that sport at, where the body knows that, hey, this is what I'm going through every day and every week. This is the weight I need to be at. And when we freak about it because, hey, so-and-so lost 15 pounds or 20 pounds in the season, but maybe that's the weight the body knows it needs to be at to do what it needs to do. Because your body learns by getting hit frequently that I got to cover up or I got to do these different things. I mean, one thing we learned with RPR is football players in the season, they've moved all of their reset spots onto the backside because they've been getting hit in the front so much.